Before I get to the AA.com portion of this flight, I want to point out the flight award chart, and I'll put the link down in the description for this. But this tells you how much it costs to get from where to where on American Airlines miles, and that's important because, as you'll see here in a minute, it's going to show some different numbers that don't matter to us when we go on a site. Because your entire award, no matter where you fly from, say in the United States, to my destination, I'm actually Asia Region 2 is where I'm flying to. Look in Mile Saver because that's everything that you want to look for. It's the lowest amount of miles that it's going to cost you, and that's also what transfers to these other partner airlines. It's on their Mile Saver program as well. So you want to look for, if it was an economy to get over there, this is one way, it would have cost me $35,000. Again, I'm looking for first class, but to get there, I'm actually going to register for business, and business is $70,000. So $70,000 is what it's going to cost me to get actually from Denver all the way to Bali. So you'll see here in a minute, I'm wanting to upgrade Asia Region 2 in first class on Cathay because they have some sweet seats. And if I had trip reviews, I'd show you I've flown in some of the most awesome seats there are, and that's always what I'm trying to get to. That's going to cost me 110,000 miles, and those are all American miles. And how do I get American miles? I've gotten them through getting the SPG cards. SPG is cards similar to like Amex and Chase in that their points, even though they're intended for their hotels, will transfer to American. They're one of the very few points earning credit cards that will transfer over to American Airlines. You can either get American Airlines cards, which I've gotten multiple American Airlines cards. You can get the Platinum, Gold, the Executive card. You can also get the SPG cards, which will also get you miles. So that's how I'm paying for my flight. I pay for my hotel using Chase Ultimate Rewards points. So I may show another video after this one that'll show my hotel and how I paid for that with the Chase cards. But I'm paying for all of this with American miles that I've earned off of American Airlines credit cards or SPG credit cards. Or I've actually signed up for bank accounts where I can get American Airlines credit cards. Bank Direct out of Texas, you can get points there. You can also get points by having a Fidelity account if you open up an account with Fidelity. These are all different ways where you can get bonus points out the wazoo. So, moving on. I am in the 70,000 point range. That's what it's going to cost one way to get to Asia Region 2, which is Bali. Multiply that by 2 because it's my wife and I, and then multiply it again by 2 to get back. So it's going to be 140, it's going to be 280,000 round trip to get to Bali. And these points really aren't a problem if you're getting credit cards like I do. So if you're interested in that, watch my other videos. And you can ask questions, and if more questions come up about American in particular, I'll make a video about American Airlines. That's the flight award chart. If I go to American Airlines, and I've already done the search to make sure and see what I'm going to have to do to get there, but you go to American Airlines, and this is the way you get there. It shows like this. You just go to AA.com. This is what pops up. You want to redeem miles, so I'm going to redeem miles right there. I want to search one way because it only matters to me how to get there right now. Coming back is a different trip, so we do that at a different time. I'm doing one way, Denver to San Francisco, 2 passengers, and put the date. We actually leave San Francisco on the 20th of November at 10:50 p.m. So we can fly into San Francisco anytime on the 20th. Now remember, we're going for Miles Saver rewards. That's important. So we need to find Miles Saver fares. And you'll notice that the anytime fares, there's a lot more of them, but it also costs 4 times as much, so you don't want to use those. So I'm looking for business first, Miles Saver. And I want to get to, again, San Francisco. So this is the San Francisco. It looks like there's nothing available except for on the 19th. Do I really want to fly into San Francisco a day early? Well, let's see what they show. Let's see how early it gets us in. Connections on an international flight cannot be more than 24 hours. So keep that in mind. So that means I need to get into San Francisco after 10:50 on the 19th. So on the 19th, this one gets me in too early. So I couldn't even take this flight even if I wanted to. This one, on the other hand, gets me in at 12:05 a.m. So now I'm within 24 hours of when my next flight leaves. And when you talk to American Airlines agents, sometimes they're thinking of the 4-hour window. You can only have 4 hours on layovers for domestic flights, but on an international itinerary, you have 24 hours at any one of your stops that you can have a layover. So if I wanted to stop in San Francisco and go see the Golden Gate Bridge for a day, I could take this flight right here, and it takes me through Phoenix to LA to San Francisco. Actually, it's a mess. I don't know why anybody would want that anyhow, but I could take that in anticipation of getting a better flight when we get closer to the time of departure, because more flights will likely open up. I also have the option of going with Economy Saver. Now again, I'm on a business itinerary, so it's going to cost me 70,000 points one way. But if I'm booking a business itinerary, I can go down and book the Economy Miles Saver if that's the only seat available. So right now, there's no direct flights, but I can get to San Francisco through Phoenix. So probably want to do that on the 20th. So since I moved back to the 19th, now I'm going to go back up to the 20th. I'm on the Miles Saver, and it looks like I can get to San Francisco at 6:26, or this one's going to be too late because it goes into the next day at 12:05 a.m. So this is the flight that I'm going to want to choose. I want to take 1638, and this is American Airlines, 1638 at 2:25 p.m., and that connects in LAX at 5 o'clock p.m., which is AA Flight 6028. And this is what I'm going to tell the agent are all of these flight numbers, dates, and times. Really, it's flight numbers and the dates that you need. And that'll get me into San Francisco at 6:26 p.m. And I'll have a 4-hour layover before my 10:50 flight to Hong Kong. And that is how I make the trip. Now, since I did downgrade in economy, I can go back at any time, and I can, if a business class seat opens up, which it likely will in my case, I've seen it many times before, so long as I keep on it and somebody doesn't snatch it up before me, which is probably good where you can use that expertflyer.com. In my previous video, I go a little bit over Expert Flyer, but that's where I would use it. I'm really searching for that business seat that goes from Denver to San Francisco. I can put up some alerts for specific flights that fly Denver to San Francisco and have it email me when they open up, and that way I can call up American Airlines and tell them, look, this flight opened up on my itinerary, it's in business class, currently I have economy, and it won't cost me anything to upgrade. There might be a slight tax change, but it'll be like literally $1 or $2. So you'd upgrade from the Economy Miles Saver to the business, because you can always upgrade to whatever class you're on for no cost. And then at any time, if I wanted to, I can also upgrade the entire itinerary, like I said in the beginning of the video, from a business class all the way up to first class. I'll have to pay the difference between $70,000 and $110,000 to get that first class seat, but it is available. Now remember, I am now in business class. If I call up and I book this business class itinerary, even though it has Economy Miles Saver, which is a grade below, it is a business class itinerary. I cannot go back and change that down to economy if I want to try and save some points at that point. Once you book business, you have to stay with business and move up or stay where you're at. And economy, that seat, again, I can move up to business at any time for no charge because it is a business itinerary. Now, that is exactly how I'm going to call. I'm going to call up American Airlines AAdvantage at their number. I'll put that down in the description below. Wait on hold for an hour, and then I'll tell them all the flights that I want, because now I know it. I found exactly what I want to get out there. I'd probably have my itinerary coming back. I don't want to make a video that lasts that long, and this one's already really long. So I'm going to call them up, give them the itinerary, have them put it on hold, and you can hold it for 5 days. They'll give you a time when it'll expire, and it'll be at midnight 5 days out. So I want to put this whole itinerary on hold. That puts all of my seats on hold, and in the next 5 days I can call it and have them ticketed. The reason that I want to put it on hold is because maybe I want to make sure that they have hotel availability in Bali. Maybe I'm making this trip without knowing if my wife can get off work or whether I can get off work. So it's a good idea to put it on hold and come back to it later after you know you can book it, because once you book it, there actually is a $175 fee if you want to try and have the miles reinstitute, and that's per person. If you want to have the miles put back into your account and cancel the itinerary, it's $175 for, at least at the time of this video, and always double check what I'm saying, but this is what I remember. $175 if you need to cancel the itinerary and get the miles back. You can do it, but there's a fee to it, and that's per person. Hey guys, I'm breaking in here because I forgot to announce what most people want to know about, which is how much this trip cost me and how much it actually would have cost. And at this point, I haven't done the hotel. I've booked the flight, and the flight comes out to be $123 each. That's round trip for a single person. So it was $123 each for my wife and I, so about a total of $246. And that $246 are for the taxes and fees. That's normally what my flights to the Asia Pacific region 2 cost. It's about $125 a piece, which is a fantastic deal considering that the actual cost, the business, this trip, which if I look it up right now, I'm going to go ahead and do Denver to DPS. DPS is the hotel code for Denpasar, which is the island of Bali. It's the main airport in Bali. Now, this is for economy. I want to do business class, round trip, 2 adults, and the cheapest I would be able to get it for is $13,000 for 2 people round trip. And my actual flight, which was American Airlines and Cathay Pacific, which is about the best way to get there, is Denver to DPS on American Cathay is $18,594. I paid $250. So a little over $18,000 is what I saved on this trip. Keep in mind, I'm going to upgrade this to first class when those seats become available. In first class, if we go up here and change it, and those flights are pretty much going to be the same legs. I'm just going to be in the first class cabin instead of the business class cabin. That flight from Denver, where is it? American Cathay Pacific is $28,318. That's how much it would cost round trip for 2 people to go from Denver to Bali in first class, in their first class suites. So it's a fantastic deal. It cost me $225. When I upgrade, it'll probably cost me maybe another $20-30. Just the increase in taxes and fees is what it's going to cost, which is not very much. Now my hotel added on to that, which is also going to be free. I'm using Chase Ultimate Rewards points to pay for those. It's going to be about a couple $1,000s if I were to pay for it, and it's a suite room. It's got its own swimming pool. It looks off into the jungle. We've had these types of rooms before at different hotels, and it's about $300 a night. We're staying for several nights. We're actually getting onto a boat, which we're also paying for with our Chase Ultimate Rewards points. We're getting on a liveaboard to go diving, and it's a huge liveaboard with like 10 rooms on board, and we're going to dive off of this boat around the islands of Indonesia, in particular Komodo Island. This whole accommodations package, including I haven't figured it all out exactly yet, but including the hotel stay on Bali, that we're going to stay there for several days, and then we're also going out on this boat for a full week where we live on the boat. It's going to cost, let's see, it's about $5,000 there, and another it's about $7,000. We're going to use our Chase Ultimate Rewards to pay for that, so it's going to cost us nothing. Part of it we're going to be able to use, our points will be worth 1 cent a piece, and that's the boat portion. But if we book our hotel through the Chase Ultimate Rewards travel portal, we can get our hotel at 1.25 cents per point. How do you get all these points? We're talking about, ultimately 600,000 points. Well, you can get Chase credit cards. I've got Chase Freedom. I've ended up getting several Chase Ink cards, Chase Preferred Sapphire, Chase Preferred Reserve. I've got Chase Freedom. There's several ways to get Chase points, and I don't have much of a video on how I did it, but getting these points, and then you usually have a wait time, a couple of years, where you can't get cards, especially with American Airlines and other cards where you can't get them for a couple of years after you've applied or canceled a card. Look at the rules, and for each individual card they're going to be different, but you can reapply for them and get the bonus again so long as you apply in their rules. You got to know their rules though. But yeah, that's how I've done it, is wait till I can get their bonus again, get their bonus again. Apply for multiple cards. My wife also applies for cards. One mistake I made on this trip, I was not thinking when I booked it that would have gotten me an additional 10,000 points. And I say an additional 10,000 points because I used to pay, well, it doesn't matter what I paid for it with. I paid for it with my American Airlines credit card. But since I have an American Airlines credit card, my AAdvantage program knows that. So I get 10% of any points spent in any year up to 10,000 points back. So if I spent 100,000 points on a trip, I would get 10,000 points back as a rebate since I have an American Airlines credit card. Now, I actually spent 280,000 points. And had I done 140 out of my account and 140 out of my wife's account, we would have each gotten back 10,000 points. Ultimately, I screwed up because I paid for all of it out of my account only, so that it was stupid thinking, but so that I would pay it all out of one account and we would have one reservation number. Had I paid for her ticket out of hers and mine out of mine, we would have gotten 20,000 points refunded, so it would only cost us 260,000 points. As it turns out, I used it out of mine. Since there's a max of 10,000, I only got 10,000 points back. So I lost out on 10,000 points that I could have gotten back there because I didn't use separate accounts to book each individual ticket. It's okay. I get points pretty easily, so that's not going to be a problem. I just wanted to come in, point that out. If you found this video useful, let me know down in the comments. I don't know everything, obviously, about travel rewards. I do know how to get points pretty well. I just don't know how to exactly work out every itinerary that everybody wants. I've been getting comments that, how do I get from here to here? Sometimes it does take a little bit of work on your own. You're going to have to get out there and do a little digging, but as you can see in this thing, I'm ultimately going to save $30,000 on this trip, maybe $35,000 on this trip. In the past, I've already saved probably close to $150,000 in the last couple of years, last few years on trips. If you haven't yet, go back, watch all of my videos. That'll give you a good basis of understanding. So if you like this type of video, show you how these different tools work and how I use them, let me know. Also, please subscribe. We've been demonetized by YouTube, blah, blah, blah. If you subscribe, that'll help us getting remonetized again. So at least we make a little bit off of these videos. I think that's about it. Thanks for watching Travel Hacking Video 10.